Hi guys, it's TechBoy here with another video. This video is my Nintendo E3 2014 Roundup video, so my thoughts, talking about what they actually announced and all of that. First thing I want to talk about before I go really in depth is just go over the announcements that they made, especially during the Nintendo Digital event, which was really a Nintendo Direct. The Legend of Zelda for Wii U, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS updates, Splatoon, which is a new IP for Nintendo, Codename Steam, Strike Team eliminating the Alien Menace, which was also a new IP for Nintendo, Mario Maker, Yoshi's Woolly World, which was formerly called Yoshi's Yawn, I believe, when it was announced at E3 2013, so this is really the same game, just substantially better, of course. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Hyrule Warriors updates, Mario Party 10, Amiibo, which is the Nintendo figurine platform, Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Wii U, and many more games were announced, like Project Robot, Project Guard, which were originally designed to come out on the Nintendo 64, but as Shigeru Miyamoto said, they didn't have the graphics power back then in order to do it, so they're just starting to rethink through those ideas now. And then there were other games that were announced, like Kirby, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire got further announcements and gameplay footage. Bayonetta 2, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Star Fox got a brief announcement towards the end of the digital event, basically saying that yes, it's in development, and during a Treehouse live event, Miyamoto basically said he's hoping to get it out by the end of 2015. So I'm not going to be able to go through every single one of these, but I just want to cover what I believe were the main highlights. Zelda. Oh my god. The graphics look absolutely stunning, but it's not completely like the 2011 tech demo. I know I'm slightly disappointed in that regard, especially when you look at Link. I mean, we don't even know if Link is a boy or a girl, so at this stage I'm just going to say Link is a boy and all that, and just stick with that, especially for this video. But if you compare the graphic looks of Link in that 2011 tech demo to what they showed in this trailer, he looks more cartoonish in this trailer and all that. Not to say it's a bad thing, but they've probably done that because they're focusing on a lot more effects, like an open world, so you don't have to wait for loading times when you go in and out of buildings and all that. Thank goodness they are going to fix that issue, because that is one of the core issues with Zelda games and all that, because it stops the flow and all that every now and then. But if it's a continuous open world and it continuously loads as you move around in it, it's just going to make it more immersive and a better experience overall. So at this stage, it's expected to be released sometime during 2015, but probably just before Christmas 2015. Next is Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Palutena from Kid Icarus was announced. There's Mii characters, so there's a Brawler, Sword Fighter, and Mii with a gun. They have 12 movesets each, so as a Mii character itself, you have a total of 36 moves. Possible moves, that is. Pac-Man was also announced, not during the Direct, but during the round table. Mr. Sakurai, who's the director for Super Smash Bros., I believe for the majority of them, announced Pac-Man, and the Super Smash Bros. Invitational event was really good. I managed to find a video on the internet of the actual event, and if I can find it again, I'll put a link for it in the description below. But overall, general updates. And the 3DS got a release date. I believe from memory it was the 4th of October. I may be wrong, but if it's different, I'll let you know in the description below. But basically, 3DS has got a release date. The Wii U version's still going to be out by the end of this year. And just great updates in general. So, to keep things moving, Splatoon is a new IP from Nintendo. To put it straightforward, I have never been into shooters. And like all these violent video games and Call of Duties and stuff like that, they've never really appealed to me. But things like Splatoon that they've done here, if you were to describe this to a person, I would say it's like The Blob, which was a Ubisoft game, and Call of Duty from the perspective of being a first person and a shooting type game and all that put together. That's basically what Splatoon is. And the idea is you've got to cover as much surface on the ground, up the walls, and all that in your team's colour of paint. And you can move around in your coloured paint as a squid, and you can move a lot faster than you would for walking and all that. And the aim is to get as much paint on the ground as you possibly can, and you can overrule your opponent's paint and all that. I just want to see more customization options, more modes, maybe a story mode, something like that. But from what they've shown so far, I really like it. But until they announce a lot more for it, I will lean more towards getting the game if all of the stuff that they're going to announce for it is absolutely amazing. And even the gamepad interaction itself. So if you see another squid on the screen, if you tap on that, it will move your character, basically jump up and high in the air, and then land basically next to where that squid you tapped on the screen is. I mean, that's a perfect integration of the Wii U gamepad, and Nintendo seems to be doing a lot of that, especially this year. Next is Mario Maker. So the thing is that if you look at this game, is it basically saying, is that going to make all of the 2D Mario games from here on irrelevant? In some ways, yes. In some way, no. Yes, because you could basically recreate every single one of those levels, but do you want to create every single one of those levels? That's where it's going to catch people out. And this game's really more designed, I personally see it, from the people who want to create ridiculously hard levels to really challenge themselves. So really the hardcore 2.5D Mario gamers, because all of the young children that are like 10 years old or younger, they are really the core audience for New Super Mario Bros. U and other similar games like that, because they've got to create it challenging enough but easy enough for people like them, children like them, in order to complete the game so that they can be satisfied and all that, and they'll want to get more games and all that. It's just makes too much sense. So I really like this. The only thing I don't see or know anything about, and I hope they announce, is a 3D Mario mode. If they do that, it will be an instant buy for me. But until then, I'm on the fence, leaning more towards not getting it, because I'm more of a person that would rather do the levels than creating them. Yoshi's Woolly World is expected to come out early 2015, and things like the texture of the wall, even on Yoshi itself, looks absolutely gorgeous. And I can imagine playing this in full HD if it is developed in full 1080p and all that. That the graphics will be absolutely amazing. I have never played a Yoshi game as such in the past. This doesn't really appeal to me, but if you have and you really liked them, I can definitely see this appealing for you. To keep things moving, Captain Toad Treasure Hunters is based off the concept of the Captain Toad levels within Super Mario 3D World. And basically, again, it's fully fledged retail, box art already leaked, retail game, not a eShop downloadable game. I mean, you could probably still download it through the eShop, but it's not going to be like an eShop only, or I somehow hope if they do it through the eShop, which I would be more hoping that they do, is have less levels in it, but so you can pay less for less content, because if it's got like 100 levels or something, I don't want to pay 60, 70 bucks for it, but if it has 150, 200 levels, I'd be more inclined to pay the full recommended retail price for it. And it's just so creative, these games, and the fact that Captain Toad carries treasure on his backpack and all that means you can't jump. And that adds a whole new mechanic to the game, because everyone expects, oh, you can jump up and down, but as soon as you remove it, you basically got to rethink everything that you do, which makes it more of a puzzle game and all that. And I really like what's been announced here, and it's expected to come out before Christmas this year, 2014. Moving on, Hyrule Warriors looks absolutely amazing, and the fact that there's a two-player mode where one person can play on the TV screen with a Wii Remote, nunchuck, and maybe some other controller, and another player can play on the Wii U gamepad, and they're both in full screen. Isn't that what the Wii U should have been on day one? Obviously, they did like during Nintendo Land and all that with that Mario Chase game, but they haven't done that for any other retail game for the Wii U, as far as I know. So it's just a perfect addition. I'm not sure if I would get this game personally from the perspective of it being too repetitive. I like the whole idea of the slashing of the sword and all of that, but I can't help but feel like after 15 minutes, whether or not I've just played the whole game, because it's basically the same sort of thing. Whereas like Captain Toad, as I was saying before, they're all different puzzles and all that, and in this game they're going to be different worlds and all that, but you're doing the same thing repetitively over and over again, unless they have something else to refresh it or something that I'm not aware of. And according to Nintendo Australia, it's expected to come out 20th of September in Australia. Please check your local Nintendo website for the actual release date for your country. Mario Party 10 was also announced. I saw this coming, and I hoped they were going to announce it during the digital event, but they obviously didn't. This obviously means they don't have any confidence in the game. The whole game's really based around the fact that if you've got the Wii U gamepad, you're Bowser, and it's really you versus everybody else that has a Wii remote. Basically, that's the game in a nutshell. I hope they provide the flexibility so you don't need the gamepad to just play with 4-player versus each other and all that, like previous games. Like the last one I owned was Mario Party 8 on the Wii, and that was really good for the time, but I somehow don't see this selling very well because it's not very different from all the others, and really, I've outgrown that series of games, so personally, I'm not going to get it, but if you're into the series, it's definitely worth checking out. And the last thing I want to talk about is Amiibo, which doesn't really roll off the tongue at first thought, but it will probably grow on you in the long term. So it's basically Nintendo's answer to Skylanders. So in the top left image, where the person's holding their fingers around the figurine, that's where the near-field communication, or NFC, chip is within the figurine itself, and then it interacts with that location of the Wii U gamepad in order to send data to and from the figurine and the Wii U. So it could be for holding stats about your personalized character, so it could be for gaining your attack, defense, and speed, and then increasing it over time and leveling up your character. And I honestly don't see the purpose of this. I honestly do not, to put it forward. I just don't think I'm in the market for it or really fully understand what it is trying to get at. If they have a better way of using it, or at least from my understanding of it, have a better way of using it, then I would be all for it. But it all comes down to how much these cost. I mean, if they're like $15 each, then no, I'm not going to get any. But if it's like $5 each, then it may be tempting to get like a couple just to test it out for the gimmickiness of it. And it's announced for Super Smash Bros. Wii U, and then they're expected to integrate it into Mario Kart 8, Mario Party 10, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and Yoshi's Woolly World in the future. So that's my update for Amiibo, and that's the update for this whole video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Google Plus if you do not know that I had one. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you later.